Well, I swear you be having them car rides and then moments where you got, you know, chat with yourself, get clarity. Man, you ever been in a situation where you just know people got you fucked up? They got themselves fucked up. I'm trying to think where I want to post this unfiltered inner child. I can. Some of y'all, when y'all get on this healing journey, this journey of enlightenment or this journey of balance where you realize it's not about what a motherfucker look like. It's not about, it's the healing journey, yes, it's levels, but it's your whole perception on life changes as you do the healing. As you meet yourself deeper, big dipper. As you meet yourself deeper, it's gonna be so evident to see a motherfucker lie to themselves, especially about the inner work they've done, the shadow work and so forth, when it's so prevalent of the fucking behavior patterns, of the same patterns that you realize, like, you will sit here and look at a person, they're talking to you blue in their face. And if you really did all this inner work, this goes for anybody, shadow work or whatever, the results will be different. But y'all be getting so caught up on how stuff is just supposed to be boom overnight. No, this shit is gonna show even how you approach life, how you interact and so forth. Let me tell y'all something, bro. One of the biggest lessons I fucking learned is that I've always tell people about this, bro. I was telling somebody about this too that don't look like me as far as like skin color and shit. Having these real, raw, authentic conversations, because y'all gotta realize, like, bro, through lived experience, when you are in tune, you're gonna connect with people from all walks of life because you're dealing with all types of energy, spirits, people, and so forth. So it's just a discernment and mindfulness to where you can observe but not absorb. Because when you in situations, you realize a person has absorbed what they went through in childhood, just like a sponge. And when you don't do the inner work and face yourself, what ends up happening? When you don't squeeze that sponge out, when you don't clean it up, when you don't allow certain things, think about that. You just keep holding on to so much and then so forth, you never let go. Man, what the fuck, bro? Certain conversations, certain things you will have with people, it will show you the mindset where they haven't let go as they say they have, because they'll tell themselves they're past something. This is where the mask ends up falling for people that they don't see that you become aware of. And it has a lot to do with the fact of them, they will convince themselves that they are at this place. This be that spiritual psychosis shit. This be that spiritual shit in the spiritual communities. It's closed. Yeah, the outside, but the drive-thru open. But yeah, this is that shit that people who know they are in tune, who did the inner work, know exactly what the fuck I'm talking about. Is that you have people who proclaim, and this is where a lot of people don't even recognize, like, the blockages really be within themselves, because they'll proclaim or this and this when whole time they'll have a motherfucker, if you know, entity attachment operating low vibes or certain shit like that. And there's no difference in someone growing up in the trenches or something, and they don't even know how to alchemize. They don't even know how to transmute or transform. So this is the same how you will see a person go get a job. You will see them go do stuff. And again, yes, they can make progress is what they call it. But when you don't really heal and do the internal work, ancestral shit, and then really face who you are, what end up fucking happening is that it's just like a car going nowhere fast. It's like a car with no gas going nowhere fast. People will literally tell themselves in their mind's eye that they're moving, they're doing shit, and in reality, it's like you can convince other people outside of outside of your home environment and so forth in this public eye, but I've seen you in the fucking shadows. When you do the inner work and become more in tune, you realize, like, bro, people are not who they say they are. You see beyond what they look like. When you in tune when you have to have a spirit of discernment, when you naturally have a gift and you don't warn people, man, you know what? That's when Divine says, step away. I'm allowing you to see this because their destruction is coming and you ain't bringing it upon them. They're bringing it upon themselves. It's just like a child that has to learn to go through discipline. I see so much shit when people be, again, it's the injustice that is represented in spirituality, in people's spiritual practices, and just the deception. Like, that shit is karmic. You don't realize how much it's bringing you self-harm and will harm your children and everyone else involved. It ain't gonna harm me because I've already surrendered and accepted. Like, you know what? I've gotten to a place where I realized like shit come full circle. I'm talking about fast. Shit is moving quickly. Because whole time you'll think someone is your opposition or against you. And you know what? You be like, you know what? You actually are a catalyst to this shit. Because this time you actually think, see how a motherfucker can trick you out your position is having you believe that you actually got to give up your seat on your throne. Or you got to give up your position to actually come where they are. Even when you hold a mirror to their face, because you're not going to think that what you actually going to say is something like before when I was younger or something else when I didn't have the discipline and shit. Because that's what discipline comes in. I would allow what you said get to me. I'm at a place now, I realize you just really at war with yourself. I don't need to get revenge. Surrenderance comes in, you let the Most High play that shit out. You let people go through their lessons, and when they try to spin the block or when they come back around, it ain't about you being right. It's just the fact of, I've been there. It may not look the same, but I'm going to give you some shit that you don't even realize that's happening spiritually, bro. I'm going to give you some shit to where, like, I'm just a messenger type shit. People be really out here trying to play God. Then the whole time they'll try to project on you, you're a narcissist, because what it is that they can't control who you are. They no longer have control because the illusion of control they thought they had has slipped out. Like, that's why it's so beautiful to be in integrity. I was telling the bro today earlier, like, there was a situation that happened and we happened just to get, chop it up. When you patient, things that come around always. It was something that happened, they came around, they was like, we just appreciate you being there. I was like, I appreciate that, but at the same moment, I saw it completely different because I could have did something and just made one decision and not thought about it, but I had to see the bigger picture, but I still was there for a reason. At the same moment, I saw their response to a lot of things that they wanted to do. So again, you still have interactions with people, but they still have free will. So for me, I'm telling myself, nah, I don't have to do it like they would do. The guy, he was still on some revenge shit. He was still on some, man, you know what? And I get it, because a motherfucker came to your house with a gun and some other stuff I'm not gonna go into detail. But I started to learn more deeper into like the progressed energy. If you know, when it comes to the natal chart. And I start to recognize like my energy has shifted into a whole different perspective of like my moon sign, a lot of different other things that I realized like that I become more sensitive to because of the progression. And when I mean progression, it's just like I'm saying, as you progress in life, it's not a false sense of identity. This is what's getting exposed all around energetically from everyone. When you don't walk in integrity, when you don't do the inner work, when you don't try to find structure and balance within yourself, you would get offended if I say you're fake. There's no difference in calling you karma. Or there's no difference in realizing like you're not who you say you are. Some people be needing that wake-up call. Some people be really needing that shit. It was times when people came on my path, it was so much shit that was uncomfortable, but I'd be so appreciative and grateful because that shit was like, I could have got offended by it, or basically it was a like a slap in the face by spirit, like, For one, you don't have to be ashamed or feel guilty. But it's going to bring up that shame and guilt around the mass that you've had. So in that moment, that's divine intervention, saying that you can face this and realize you don't have to live in that experience. You know what I'm saying? And I start to pay attention to everyone involved and start to realize, like, oh my God, this is an energy that I've either learned, that I'm learning from, will learn from, progress through, if I choose to. Because what they'll do, they'll try to make you figure out, like, you know, I had to call a motherfucker out. They didn't, like, people don't realize, like, so my progress chart, now I realize I have a Libra moon. Bro, it's going to balance. This shit, I'm going to bring balance to a situation. If you know, you know. I'm going to bring balance. Balance is going to be restored naturally. And the thing about balance being restored is, I had to tell the person, I'm not going to do what you did to me. Because that's not restoring balance. That's not even restoring peace. Because one thing I realized, and I want y'all to peep this shit when I say this, it's real and raw. Meeting people who have been passive aggressive towards situation are going to be the very people who are conflict avoided when it comes to resolution, when it comes to handling conflict in stressful situations. See, being that I've done the inner work and face a lot of shit, I know where I am. So guess how the divine will show you how someone else is who hasn't done the inner work. They will still either bring up stuff from the past, they will still project onto you how you made them something, which again, for one, no accountability. It's not to say you didn't do anything to make things out to where this person could have responded or react. It's the awareness around not bringing it back to yourself to realize you played a role in that instead of projecting like you made me. That's just like me saying to a child or something, I made them act that way. No, I had an influence, but see, you don't know the deeper aspect of what has really influenced over you. So those who know, who are in tune, know exactly what I'm talking about. The spiritual aspect of that shit, where people are subjected to be influenced by shit. They don't even know it. So, again, I had to realize, like, through observation and rather reacting as I would a year or two ago when I realized, like, what do I have to prove? But then people hate when you hit them with facts, because they'll sit here and think just because your life don't look a certain way that you don't have motion. You see, that's the thing about, I realized, like, once you fully focus on the wound, your results will not show surfacely when other people feel like they should, because a lot of shit that they're doing, you have to see what it is to hide from them to have run from themselves and hide. So what they do in running from themselves, they project it onto you. This is childhood shit too, and adult trauma. This is what happens in dynamics with mother and father, you know, people like that. And when a person doesn't heal, it can play out through when you have children by people. Whatever they don't acknowledge and heal, whether from a father wound or a mother wound, that becomes a projection eventually. That becomes the results of the things that they never faced or, you know, realized that they needed to acknowledge, instead of it being this person made you. No, your childhood. I came before. I came after your childhood. What haven't you fucking addressed? That's how y'all gotta start looking at shit. Because I'm gonna bring balance, and I'm gonna bring balance in an authentic and integrative way. Because a lot of shit and everything, how your life and how the results of your life that you don't want to take full accountability of. Because one thing about face this inner child shit, it will force you to see the full fucking wound and focus fully on the wound. And that's why I start recognizing, like, people's lives becomes, they start to compare, because this is what happened in the spiritual community. A lot of people don't know. They start comparing the healing journey. That's why you start to see people try to perform in the shit. They start performing as if what they're doing is better than this other person actually doing the fucking shadow work and healing. Baby, I don't need to expose you. The transits will, the divine will, the most high will. And in that moment, I would sit back and tell people, I would just simply observe. Simply observe. I interact with people who are at different levels who I realize, you know what, I know exactly what's coming to them. And this is the funny shit about it. I was talking to a mother today. She has multiple children, multiple baby fathers. You can tell she's going through a lot, but sometimes the divine will place you there to actually be a supportive cast just for a mere moment, just for a season, just for that person to be reminded that love does exist in a form where a man isn't coming to touch you, to harm you, but actually to hold space for you. And see, this is the thing where platonic things come in, because this person begins, you know, we begin to have, you know, dialogue or whatever, but before we can get deeper into something, we somehow got on the lines of like her daughter, her eldest daughter being molested, and she said it happened to her, and I told her like something happened to me when I was young. But then, you know, you start realizing like, wow, I needed to hear this, or I needed to see this, because you will get to know the depths of why people are the way they are. One thing I tell y'all about a passive aggressive person, they will discard. This is one thing I've learned through so many people, or just through experiences. When people don't know how to handle conflict or conflict avoidant and stressful environments, whether it's communicating, walking away, and so forth, and this is through lived experience because I grew up in it. It wasn't just the passive aggressive, it was the overly aggressive, how people assert themselves. But the passive aggressive aspect, I sat back and watched this person. I was like, dang, you really got this pattern of somebody in your parent or somebody. And what it was showing me is that they quickly to discard a person simply because over something. Because see, one thing I realized on the journey, you may not have known that your actions affected someone. You may not have known the impact that it may have had on someone. You may not have known how much what you said or what you done, how, you know, that saying goes like, people never forget how you make them feel. That's very much true, because the body keeps the score. But one thing I've learned about passive aggressive people and what you see the climate of, they're so numb and disassociated from emotions. And you got to think about how some people who never had emotional depths with their mother, or never had anything nurturing and so forth. See, I went through the opposite of that. I went through the overly aggressive people asserting themselves in an abusive way, emotionally and so forth. So my impulsiveness, or what I would do, would be more reactive. Now with balance, I realized like, you start to learn and have attracted people who don't even recognize that the same templates or foundation, narcissistic templates that's controlling and so forth, there is other parts of that, rather than just how people assert themselves aggressively in an unhealthy way. People who typically are conflict avoidant, they do it also in a controlling way, in a manipulative way, to have control over the situation. You see that in the judicial system. You see that through the fact of like, even the whole concept of like how I've noticed like how some people mother, they actually build an identity around like how everything what mama says goes. And people don't even see the distortion in that. And that's why I keep trying to tell people, bro, the karma that's coming to people, it's going to be a drastic lesson, because they're going to burn themselves out. They're going to realize the energy is shifting. They don't realize like the divine is calling for people to face and go within, because the results, the consequences or the results is going to be very tragic. It's going to be in tragedy. Like I said, the mother I talked to today, we chatted or whatever, and I immediately just realized like, dang, I immediately just having conversations know that this is something I have to respectfully not even absorb in any type of way, because I can see the depths. And it's so wild, because Jupiter's in Cancer, so it's so significant around the fact of, you know, seeing that she's a single mother. She just told me how she had an abortion. She's 37, I believe. I think she has like 4 or 5 kids. It's not judging her situation. I'm able to see the depths. I'm able to see the pattern. I'm able to see the distortion. I'm able to see the fact of like how tired, exhausted by her movement, by her not wanting support. You know what I'm saying? And that's why some people don't realize like you can be a blessing in disguise by simply the divine to place you on people's path for a reason. Because I had just had a dispute with someone earlier and I had to realize like, what the fuck? And when I went walking with my son, I saw a huge ass falcon. That's the biggest falcon I ever saw. And immediately I know the totem or the spiritual aspect of that is it's always, it says, what is it like? Prophecy and the bigger picture. And it's so funny because I got a video of the fucking falcon stood up on this top of this light pole, and the fucking birds, all these birds were making noise, but his presence, it's almost like I felt like it was myself because of the fucking energy of the falcon was so fucking unbothered in this area. But the little black birds kept coming, you know, because, you know, I don't know if the falcon was hunting, because sometimes some birds do hunt other birds or go after things. But it was like his presence, the presence, I don't know if it was a female or whatever, doesn't matter. The presence that it just sit there unbothered, I had to record, I'm like, whoa. And how the little birds kept coming and even like nipping at it, and then it was just like unbothered. Then it flew into another tree, but all you can hear is like the black birds, it seemed like panic. Like, but they couldn't take it out. He was too fucking big. His power was just too mighty. And it was so wild because I was like, yo, why am I seeing this? And some birds, a lot of birds can't go to the altitude. So that's a whole nother thing by seeing the bigger picture, the vision. You know what I'm saying? If you know, like the falcon is associated with Heru or Horus in the Egyptian pantheon or ancient Kemet, you know, and that's very significant because I was sitting here like, yo, what the fuck? And just the whole day, the energy, I already knew because I had just affirmed some stuff earlier in the mirror and so forth. So when you really like surrender to stuff, again, going back to the passive aggressive stuff, you really are a mirror for people because they can't hide the fact of how deep you met yourself. And if you have been so committed to these patterns or so committed to your healing and fully committed to your healing, why are similar patterns still showing up? This is going to be your discernment moving forward. This is what I've had to learn. Walking away, laughing. Because somebody will actually, like I've done this before, people get mad when you actually laugh at the fact of like them trying to convince you that they are better. Like that's ego when you try to tell people that what's like, you sit back and watch a motherfucker in like emotions or some shit come out. This Jupiter and Cancer transit is exposing all that shit, especially Chiron and Aries. People masks are falling. A lot of these other transits, shout out to Akashic Prince when she talked about fixed stars. These fixed stars, a lot of this shit astrologically, a lot of people are not on the fortunate side of things. And this is why they can't stay in a high vibe or stay, you know, and that's why I realized like I have to, because I know what I'm looking forward to. Even when people try to project and say, this is not going to happen for you or this and this, they don't even realize what they be saying. I'm like, what? Like, have you not learned? I know somebody out there like, have y'all not realized like you are a miracle? You embody a miracle. I'm a fucking miracle. I had to tell a motherfucker earlier day, I'm like, since I was young, I knew I was a star. Like the more and more I embrace this shit and embody, I mean, like, I always knew I was something within me was guiding me something higher, and I always knew I will always be protected, divinely guided and protected. Now I know of through anyone who tried to come up against me. I didn't ever have to wish nothing on them. I didn't ever have to say what's gonna, like, what can happen to you. It's more so I was said in the sense of like, yo, stop playing with me. Like, all that projecting, all them insecurities, and like, stop fucking, bro. This shit be fucking hilarious, bro. This shit be here. Like I said, when I was talking to that sister, I had to catch myself. I was like, yeah, I can't sit down too much because I can realize, like, some people energy was like pull you in and lure you in. And I start seeing how she talked to her kids. And I was like, oh yeah. This is certain things will remind you this is what you're not getting, not only going through, but to realize, like, you can't save people. You can't save them. And also, like, that shit was a telltale sign what I knew karmically that was finna happen to people like her. She already told me something that happened because she said something like she just like fought her daughter over something. I was like, what? And she actually had to go to jail for it, and actually about to go to court for it. And I'm sitting here like, bro, this is that motherfucking karma. This is that karma, bro. And when you realize a motherfucker haven't healed or been lying to themselves, it's just a matter of time. It's just a matter of time for some shit really backfire, bro. I'm trying to tell you, y'all be out here don't realize, like, it's people really out here doing the motherfucking inner work. And they avoiding y'all. They're not so much avoiding y'all at all course. It's like, bro, it's so much shit in the last like 2-3 months that I've been fucking realizing my own internal growth that I don't gotta convince nobody. Now I know some people who they don't realize this is going back to the passive aggressive shit. You're not exempt from karmic lessons. This is why some people go and you learn people that may have went through something traumatic that you were unaware of. It's so much of your lesson, but also so you can be prepared not to go through it again, or also be discerning the next go round. Like I told you, that passive aggressive shit, you know how many people getting their karma right now, or about to, because they sit back and think that it can never be them. That shit can never happen to them. Man, these transits, boy, the closer we get, man, them saxophones loud as fuck. Like I said, if you grew up in passive aggressiveness or people who are conflict avoided, man, they basically have lied to you and not prepared you for the worlds of other people. You go out there, there's other people who intentionally disrespect you. Don't give a fuck. There are people out there that will, you know what I'm saying? It's the real world out there. I always tell people, you can't fuck over somebody who's spiritually in tune and know the streets. Y'all be thinking that trauma shit is just oh God, they're ridden with trauma. They're just horrible to be around. And you think being passive aggressive is just as better? Conflict avoided? Man, let me tell you something, bro. Them scales gonna balance either way. And y'all can't determine how people karma gonna come. Okay? Y'all can't determine how people karma gonna hit them. The best thing to do is let them go through that shit. I be saying, I was like, you know what? I just know what's gonna come to people. It's no difference than like letting go of my mom. Letting go of people that I knew, that I realized like I was a part of their karmic shit for so fucking long as a child. What makes you think I'm gonna go through it as in protecting my inner child and into my adulthood? Y'all still are the same motherfuckers who not so much broken, but you still running out this bitch hurt, and you still out here saying this person made me do this shit. Man, what the fuck? Ain't nobody made you do shit. That's your fucking free will. I'm telling you, that inner growth has had me out here like, I literally had somebody the other day when I intervened in something like push me. I mean, 2 people in the midst of something. And I looked at myself, I know what I'm capable of. Those who know, like I know what I'm capable of. I literally had to speak to them like, see the bigger picture, bro. It's bigger than that. So So it's a lot of things where I be like, I just get more peace in letting shit play out. You let people think they gonna play with you. And then when them scales balance and when shit balance out, you let people think they don't got away with some shit. And I told a motherfucker today, y'all be tripping, like y'all think you haven't got away from nothing. You can run away, but the divine or the universe always that shit gonna show up in somebody else. I tell myself again, I don't have to think, I assume that I'm finna go through some shit again with somebody, anybody. No. At times, yeah, through emotional immaturity or spiritual immaturity, where you feel like you gotta do some shit, you gotta lift your hand, I'm gonna tell you the greatest thing you can ever do. Let them learn their lesson. Let people keep thinking shit sweet. Let them keep thinking that, like, oh, everything is love and light. Okay. Say less. Let them keep assuming everything is love and light out this motherfucker. Them be the main people who have so much shit attached to them and got shit going on. I ain't ever coming with no love and light shit. Because everything comes from them fucking shadows. Everything comes from the darkness. So what the fuck? Nah, I laugh. I sit back and be like, bro, you know what? You're going to have to let people go down through. And I be getting revelations because I refuse to go through some shit. I'm not finna at all go through another loop with someone, anybody. See, that's the beauty of that shit. Is when the divine allow you to realize, like, you're going to have to let this person go completely. And they're going to be their choosing to go down something similar. Especially when people don't not so much right their wrongs, that's a term, but so much do the inner work. You know where the fuck they're going. That's just like somebody saying, you ain't gonna do better than me. Like, you ain't gonna never meet nobody better than something, whatever it is. And it really ain't even about that. Now, I say you'll never meet a motherfucker like me because there ain't nobody like me. But when I say like I mean that in reference to where I get to know me, I know me. But this whole looking for somebody to be that, nah. We don't level up on that shit. Like I said, that passive aggressive shit, bro, like the people I've been meeting, it's like, oh my gosh, I can see the loops. I can see the shit that the divine will put that shit so close to you through people. Think about how shit play out with family. So the divine will put that shit so close to you. And sometimes we be so naive because, you know, we haven't went through that spiritual and emotional cleansing or maturity. But then that shit come back. You know what? I didn't see this last time. I see this shit now. And sometimes shit'll be not so much, it'll be louder in the spiritual sense, but at the same moment, you have to immediately remove yourself, check yourself, become more aware, and realize, like, you know what? I gotta find a way to alchemize this, to move around. Because, like I said, I had to see that lady earlier and the other bro, and it just showed me the energy that I've already alchemized or gotten past. And I realized, like, yeah, these gonna be conversations I realized, like, I don't get no fuck for. For certain things, I just realized, like, yeah, the way you treating your child, the way you doing this, and so forth, yeah, nah, you won't be seeing me for a while. Like I said, yeah, you won't be seeing. You gotta stay like a fucking incognito or be mysterious and shit. Cause some people think, like, just because they met you, and this is where unhealthy attachment comes in, is like they become oddly obsessed with the fact of, like, you dropping some knowledge on them or you holding space and they never had that. Yeah. But then you gotta protect your inner child. So when I start seeing certain shit with certain people, I'm like, yeah, I'm not finna be hanging around this part. I'm not finna do this, because integrity is, we don't have the same core values. We don't have the same core values at all. So I ain't even tripping. It is what it is, moving forward. But I'm telling you, bro, I was telling one of my bros today, like, how people overlook the fucking trenches or the hood and shit. it's a balance between it being the most authentic when it comes to expression or reaction, then to also masking themselves or actually convincing themselves that nothing's the wrong or there's not a problem with what they're doing. See, once you come from shit like that and you come to a higher perspective to realize like, oh, I was there, I can relate, that doesn't mean I have to be there. That doesn't mean I have to stay there. I could be in the environment, but that doesn't mean I'm going to overstay my welcome. It's no difference in me going to different environments and so forth where I had to express to people like, dang, you don't even realize, like I told somebody, you can say whatever the fuck you want about me, but you don't know this entrepreneur shit where you have to fully be committed to not only your internal wounds and things ancestrally, because it will call you to be focused on the inner child and what's going on, and you have to build from that. You can't make excuses from that. You have to build foundations from that shit. So how the fuck you think just because, and this is why I tell people, to each their own, you got a 9 to 5 or do what the fuck you doing. So don't ever come over here try to compare, like, just because you have a something materialistically or this and this and this, and assume that your life is better or more structured and so forth than mine, when you're not even in tune with the motherfucking transits, when you're not even fucking aware of what's going on within the stars. How you gonna say that you have an advantage? How you gonna say that you actually have it better than someone when someone who's actually is more in tune is recognizing that the shit that you actually are building on or have built on could collapse at any moment and is probably collapsing? There's no integrity in that shit. But you would sit there and come at me, and I'm sitting here like, bro, I had to eat a motherfucker the other day, bro. And that's how stuff balance. It's like you can say what you want, project. I don't have to absorb it. Now I'm gonna observe and then hit you with this. Well, you're in a position where you can't say you can be really authentic and be your motherfucking self, because guess what? They will fire you. They will get rid of your ass. They will replace you. Don't give a fuck about your well-being. They don't give a fuck about your kids. They don't give a fuck about how your next bill gonna get paid. Cut it out. So don't ever come over here thinking you can compare. That's what most people don't realize. Don't ever come at people who are really have done this shit when it comes to entrepreneur shit. Who have really sometimes don't even know how the fuck they got by, but by the grace of the divine or just being in alignment, will have your ass realizing, okay, I've been in this so long, it's no way I can give up now, because I keep seeing signs of people to where if I thought about going back to this, I would be just as miserable as they are. Don't come at me when I know you're fucking miserable. I got so many people, not so many people, but some people I've been connected with. I'm sitting here like, it gotta be something to this shit. I don't have people say, yo, one of my bro, like, bro, you gonna get, bro, somebody gonna get your masterpieces, and bro, they gonna give you more than what you asked for. I received that. I said, you know what, I appreciate that, bro. He said, because, bro, you deserve it. Now, when someone tell you deserve it, that don't mean you can feel like you deserve it. Because sometimes imposter syndrome can come in. But I've gotten to that place where I've healed the inner child and built my self-confidence where I know I'm worthy of that and more. So, yes, I received that. And see, once you elevating and going to a higher frequency and so forth, you will be reminded through people. And also you will be reminded, and then as they see you progressing and then see the fucking results, you think that they're not paying attention, especially if they're not where they want to be, especially if they see you doing it. A lot of people ain't ready for that unknown. Like I said, a lot of people don't know, like, you don't know what this realm of this world is when it comes to this shit. When you have to not give a fuck and be fully committed to your internal wounds or to your internal journey, to balancing that shit. While you over here pretending, and I can see the frustration, I can see the repressed emotions that you keep fucking pushing down every time you go into a workspace. Shut the fuck up. Don't play with me. Y'all push them motherfuckers down every time. And you mad at me because they built a foundation upon you lying to your fucking self. You think they don't want most people to become self-sufficient and be entrepreneur? Because that's what the fuck is going to teach you. It's going to also teach you the fact that if you have have had abandonment wounds, it's gonna also bring that shit to the forefront, where you no longer abandon yourself in the process to people please. Somebody try to come at me, I'm like, you whole lot people pleasing. You whole lot going in places where you dare not say something to a person. They gonna have another say, well, the boss is like that, or the man. I'm like, okay, that reflects the foundation. Because when it comes to an entrepreneur who's self-sufficient, he or she can put on people to actually do shit in an integrative way, because all entrepreneurs ain't, some people step on people on the way up. That's not gonna be sustainable eventually, because that's eventually gonna be revealed. But when it comes to certain shit, like, folks don't be knowing. Y'all don't have integrity and authenticity with this shit. I see why a lot of people fall away from this shit, because it takes a lot of spiritual integrity. It takes a lot of spiritual maturity. It takes a lot of emotional maturity. And if I see you're passive aggressive, you don't know how to handle conflict or stressful environments, and you go back to some shit, you go back, bringing up the pat, you go back, all this other shit, I'm saying, like, you're a fucking liability to the business. You're bad for business. You're fucking up the company. And that's what partnerships reveal. That's what relationships, a lot of shit reveal. I had to tell them, boy, I'm trying to tell you, bro, I ain't trying to give y'all too much. But people don't realize how much they fuck over themselves. When I remember when Nipsey said, I'm finna make my partners look like fucking geniuses. Like, y'all don't realize this shit, bro. People actually are given a blueprint that most people will never accept and believe in, and they will literally trick themselves out of position and actually settle for something. Oh, this shit just brought up something. I had a deep fucking revelation. Oh my gosh, what is that quote? I remember meeting this guy at a fucking store at a QT. Was it a QT? No, a Sheets. He says, what is it? Some people will take a, what is that fucking quote? Some people will take they will eat a grape before they plant a watermelon seed. Man, I gotta remember that quote. It was something to where people would rather eat and settle for something smaller rather than to grow I think that's what it was. People will eat grapes before they actually grow a watermelon. And I think that's like referencing, I gotta look it up, but this dude, I won't ever forget that. And what that's saying is, before people actually put in the fucking work, meaning doing the inner work and shit, they will sit there and judge and criticize and project your life, even in a certain season, as if that's your all be all. I had to check a motherfucker today and tell him, like, this is all you got. Don't ever project onto me, because y'all be thinking just because y'all don't see shit that's in the material so soon, because y'all so used to microwavable shit, when y'all don't realize shit is shifting when it comes to the internal value of things, to where the monetary system is gonna shift, because they don't teach you about spiritual currency. So your worth is in your money or in your paycheck. This is not knocking people who going through a transition of that. It's for the ones who will sit there and come and attack people as if what you make is so much better. It makes you so much more valuable than someone else. Not knowing the whole time they got a blueprint for a motherfucking business, or for a foundation of things that is going to make them not a millionaire, not a billionaire, but most likely a trillionaire. That's something that humanity has never seen. Simply because it's the integrity, and also I'm gonna make my partners look like fucking geniuses. So by all means, Most High, the divine source, bring justice to all these fucking people who are not seeing the bigger picture, to the value of what I am offering that you are using me to bring forth. So be it. Ashe. Because these are going to be the same people who are going to be clapping, or watching everything you're fucking doing. Because to you, It's always been bigger than the money because it's spiritual currency. This is not shit you can measure with time. This is shit that's gonna outlive me. But you over here focused on some throwing up some shit about, bro. You know how many people don't you know how many people don't project it and threw up shit to me or try to project onto me about what they've had? You think the divine won't place you in situations where you are around people? I've been around people who had their own fucking, like, their ancestors, or not ancestors, but yeah, you can't say that. But where they lived in other countries, there's people with their own fucking money. What? Like people who are, what do you want to call it, like royalty, or have certain shit connected to their lineage to where money is the least of their worries. Sometimes for them, it's the people they gotta watch who are just trying to get to them for that. See, when you got spiritual currency, you gotta be aware and discerning and intuitive to know who the fuck is just trying to get close to you just for that, to get you in a sensitive place, a vulnerable place to actually prey on that shit. Yeah. So for me, I'm seeing like, you know what, the bigger picture is like, that's what most people try to do. Y'all don't be seeing it. That's something they can see in you. So I had to laugh. You think like I said, I know people. Their fucking integrity. Most of why certain connections end with me is your fucking integrity through shit. It's your fucking ignorance. It's the shit that you continue to ignore, and I'm sitting here addressing to bring awareness to. They're closed, brother.
It's closed?
Yeah, they closed. Oh. You gotta go through the drive-through.
Thank you.
Yep. But yeah, like real shit, like, and that's the thing where y'all gonna realize like how so many people is not really keeping it real with you, because they don't know how, they haven't been on the path of keeping it real with themselves. Because when you along this path with the inner child, doing facing breaking generational patterns and intergenerational traumas and shit, you're forced to see shit that you don't want to know, want to see about your lineage, certain shit that's been revealed and so forth, seeing their ass in the shadows, seeing what they're doing behind the scenes, so forth. And with that, it's like, you gotta realize you're gonna be asked to do shit a completely different way, even when they feel like it's like not in integrity. It's more so like you gonna have to know. You're gonna have to know what it is to go without, because what it is I'm learning through this Chiron and Aries transit is that one of the things that's highlighted is that when you're dealing with abandonment wounds, or you realize, like, I've noticed this through manipulation with people, they'll sit there and make it seem like, and this is how you're gonna break a huge generational pattern, is they'll make it seem like all that they have is everything that you have, or you wouldn't have nothing without them. That's bullshit. That's bullshit. That's not to overlook the fact of who has supported you along your journey, but this is the people you have to be discerning of, because in your progression and in your doing your inner work, you're doing shit that's beyond natural eye. You're doing shit that's beyond like what they can see on the surface, because that's all they know. That's all they've been taught. So that spiritual shit you kicking, they probably won't get until they actually get a spiritual ass whooping or go through a karmic lesson and they come full circle, if they're willing to do it. Now, some people won't make it. That's why I be sitting here laughing, like, people project onto me about my experience and my journey. You could listen. There's no comparison at all. I don't ever compare myself to someone else, because that's so fucking ignorant and stupid. Like, I just noticed, like, what? That's what most people do who are really, like really either hurting inside, or will try to project through manipulation that, or threaten you with, you know, your position in life, and they will try to manipulate you out of that, and it really be motivation and really be inspiring you. You really got to counter that shit with, like, you know what? You gotta be telling people. I had to tell them about you. First of all, y'all be trying to play God or the Creator. Y'all be trying to play stuff and don't realize like you're not bigger than the program. You're not bigger than the program. Because if you knew any better, you would surrender to the fact of realizing that all of this shit is bigger than everyone here. We all just playing a role in it, and you don't even realize I clocked you. I realize you're just a catalyst. You're a part of this shit. You inspire me to be the higher me. So now, in your ability to think that you're going to, people think that they can pull the rug and pull the foundation. Man, all that shit is purposeful to position yourself. I know for a fact, so many people, and I'm telling y'all, most of the time, it don't have to look exactly the same because you don't know everything to my journey. But you will go through shit to realize, like, Most High is only protecting you from these very energies and people, because they will be a liability eventually. They will help you lose it all. And that shit can be in different ways. By threatening your foundation, by saying that, oh, you made them do this and you do this, and then trying to make it seem like, oh, you're not capable of this and this without me. Oh my God, I've been there. Because once you build that confidence in certain shit and then you start to more and more, you sit back and laugh and realize, you start to realize, oh, this person really not who they say they are. And plus, they're not as structured and balanced. I had to tell a person, this is all you have because your patterns show me that. Why you mad at me? Because your patterns. You haven't been as consistent through this as I have. So by you trying to attack or project onto me, or even if anyone comes along, you don't know this journey or experiences. So now you're trying to compare your misery to what I'm doing, what I love to do, in my happiness that I don't place on no one else, that I don't put in the position of a job or someone else, it's just not the same energy. This is not the same reality. I know I don't want to go work for nobody, because for one, I decided that years ago that I was called to be a natural leader, or called to be, in this position to be confidently. And then if I'm being as an inspiration of the people, then that's what it is. But no, I had to go through things where a lot of these lessons was teaching me, for one, people are not going to walk over me, they're not going to speak to me, they're not going to do certain things, and they think that this was cool. No, these boundaries are firm. And I'm going to bring balance to it because that's what I embody. So, man, I'm telling you, bro, this shit be hilarious, bro, when people sit here and think they actually can tell you, like, when you can read them the fucking filth. Like, don't come over here with this shit. I don't make myself too deep to be thinking like you finna come over here and play with me. I don't read you the filth, dog. Like, I can read those who know, like, I will read you the filth. And if you've done the inner work, you can read people the filth, bro. Like, you would read people the filth, like, the results would be different. You actually over here trying to make judgment on just because where somebody is. Bro, y'all be having it so fucked up, boy. And it's the same thing that goes for, like, when you look at the bigger picture of how the last is already first now. The last is already being made first. People are already positioned. Y'all looked at people, and I can look at my life. I had so many people project on the fact of, like, oh, look at him, or look at this and look at that. He does this, he does that, but it's always seemed like you finishing last. No. You have to go through things and grow through it. And realize, like, now, whole time, you was being guided, protected. Things were being revealed to you about people you didn't want to know, and so forth. Because I'm telling you, bro, you can see when a motherfucker literally finna repeat the same pattern. You can't fool me. Just because you went to another position, just because you went to another job, just because you did this, just because... Bro, outside of that mask you still have the same fucking patterns. There's certain stuff you just can't get past on people. Yeah, you grew older. You definitely didn't grow wiser. You gonna sit here and try to come at me and tell me, these people, you gonna come at me and try to tell me how to do some shit you never done? And again, y'all be so adamant on just because people results are not like y'all. Entrepreneurship, for one, or when you on this path, is so spiritual as to where, for one, I realized like how many different streams. I told y'all, streaming is water. Everything reflects feminine archetypes, energies, water, spiritual currency. YouTube, like a tube, is your tube, your own universe. You tubing down a water stream, currency, like money, digital currency. Things are shifting. The monetary aspect is shifting to more of a more private sector. Cryptocurrency, currency, cryptic shit, coding, all this shit. This shit is like codes. Once you start doing the inner work, shits be like, you start to decode shit. Shit be spirit